probably a good idea to change the way we do archaeology, especially when we come across this material. It should at least be sampled or stored and not discarded. And they did find similar results in other areas of the body, in the Mediterranean itself too, about this time period. The brain, they have found brain matter from the Bronze Age. And that's also something that has a lot of fat in it, right, your brain. So probably the same chemical process is happening that causes this preservation.
You probably said this. What is a neurology?
It's those stone
Right,
towers.
but it's a, what is it?
Why?
Yeah.
We don't know. We can't figure out exactly. People were residing there. There's some evidence that they used it for storage and craft work too. But that's a good question. We're trying to figure out exactly what activities specifically were going on. It looks like there was at least probably used for residents as well. Yes.
And did they all have the wells like you were describing?
Not all
or just
of them.
some of them did?
Just some of them.
So
the
some of them
larger
with these
ones.
deep wells seem to be somewhat prophylactic in the sense that the mosquitoes don't get down into
Possibly,
that water.
yes. Exactly.
And so then, first of all, this is amazing to me. I'm trying to figure out those poor kids, who worked in a juvenile detention center, and one thing with all those juvenile skulls. And I know that wasn't the point of the presentation. What's going on there with that circle, that ritualistic, because it was outside of it's in one of those Niragis, and was it near where one of these water wells were located too? I mean, I'm trying to work on I understand there's a whole lot of cultural, and what luck that they built a highway through there, and they were lazy and didn't wash the bones for you.
I know, it's
Yeah,
not
that's
nice of them.
like,
It's very
one of those
considerate.
serendipitous things that.
Right.
Very
This structure right here is the one that my colleague was telling me about with
Right.
the skulls.
With the skulls.
It's a really strange one. We don't know. Maybe it's some form of violence or veneration because, traditions. There's all these rumors. Okay, probably evidence too supporting child sacrifices right after this time period. But there really wasn't any evidence of trauma except with there's a fracture that probably resulted from a fall the child had.
Fanticide,
in one of
is there
the
any
small-
fanticide, is there anything?
No
else?
evidence of that. Unless, no skeletal evidence, right? They
Right.
could have drowned, poor children, and, we wouldn't know. But it's also suspect of possibly some sort of veneration or violation, I guess, depends on how you look at it,
Sure.
that's associated with a disease or an outbreak. We're
Gotcha.
trying to prevent it
Gotcha. Try to prevent
possibly
it.
from occurring. But these are secondary burials too. So there's this big gap, we don't know what happened from the point of death to deposition.
And were they near, was there a well near that?
We can't,
Oh,
they
that you
can't
don't know.
find
Okay.
an Iraqi that's associated with a
Got
specific
it.
one.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah, it's very interesting.
what a mystery.
Yes.
You began talk with some indication that you were going to lead us to some, I think, to some practical applications for the combat of malaria, and I don't see them.
Oh, okay.
So can you bring them up?
Yeah,
please?
I'm sorry.
That's
Yes,
okay.
definitely. Once I think we get this data, and because what we're looking at here, especially from a prehistoric perspective, you're getting the natural history of the disease. There's no medicine involved from a modern day perspective. So once we start looking at or finding and identifying these people who died from malaria in prehistory, we can do a couple of different things. We can look at how they behaved in this environment. Usually, for example, when we look at a culture, we're trying to describe what's happening, and a lot of times we don't necessarily consider what specific diseases are present unless they're very obvious on the skeletal remains, like leprosy, right? So we'll get an idea that they were behaving in this malarious environment, and what we're seeing is a reflection of people who lived with malaria. So we can start to identify behaviors, for example, the ritualization of water, or how they constructed these specific features that might have applications that people could use, specifically in areas of Africa where there's a lot of political unrest, or they might not have access to drugs, or they might be developing, the parasite might be developing resistance to ways to modify what they're doing or their behavior, if they so choose, and kind of reduce the number of infections. And usually what this will entail is more vector control, as I see it, but it could also have something to do with diet, too. So that's what I'm trying to get at. What are the behaviors that people, or activities that people engage in these environments, and how does that relate to the rates of malaria in that population? And if we can identify patterns, we might be able to use these in conjunction with biomedical approaches to improve outcomes. Also, my colleagues at Johns Hopkins are very interested in the DNA evidence that I get from the malaria parasite because it helps them understand the evolution of this pathogen. It's obviously it falls pretty quickly, right? And so that helps them in developing drugs and vaccines as well.
Didn't you mention there was the tetracycline evidence? Wasn't there some like ethnobotany
Right.
evidence that you mentioned that there was some fluorescence indicating that there was a cycle of tetracycline of some
I'm sorry.
sort?
I
Did
probably
not?
explained that a
Did
little
I
bit
miss
poorly.
that?
In modern day
In modern-
experiments
oh,
in
okay,
science, they
okay.
will give an animal when they're studying
Got
bone
it,
growth,
okay,
tetracycline to mark the
Got it,
start of
okay.
the treatment and to mark the start and end of
But
the
that's
treatment.
not- but that's
and
not
that will
here.
fluoresce. The tetracycline fluoresces. In sample number 5,
Hmm.
it also fluoresced, but tetracycline isn't the only thing that causes this fluorescence. When Cliff saw that, he asked me, were they eating matter? And I said, I don't know. It's a plant that grows, and it's available in Sardinia, and that can cause it. It's used for medicinal purposes, including malaria, or treating malaria too. We don't know. We have to do some more histology to tell if it's that or if it's the dye stain from the histology.
It's
So
an
what's going
artifact
on
of
there
the-
exactly? But it
the
is
process.
also suggestive of someone trying to treat malaria or some other disease and consuming matter, or maybe they just ate it. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I'm afraid we have to let you go for the class that's coming in, although this was fascinating, and I'm sure we could go on longer. But thank you very much.